Hello and welcome back to Game of Trades, your #1 channel for videos on the stock market and cryptocurrencies. This video is going to be focused on Bitcoin that's been making some crazy moves recently. Since that 40K low that we saw towards the end of September, we've made a 40% run up here, and price managed to break back above this level. This is the same trend line that we were trading around throughout this entire summer move, where we had this head and shoulder pattern right there that broke down and fueled this move down. So we're going to discuss what kind of an impact that has on the price, but most importantly, what other players in the industry are doing with their Bitcoin right now. If you've been following our channel for a while, you'll know that knowing what the smart money and what the dumb money is doing can give you a massive edge when investing and trading in Bitcoin. Now, from a long-term investment standpoint, Bitcoin is probably our favorite asset to own. We've recently entered a macroeconomic trend of monetary debasement. Look at this money supply growth rate that we saw in 2020 and 2021. This is what is fueling this inflation move that we've seen over the past few months, and we think that's going to continue to fuel higher inflation rates. If you look at the typical time lapse you have between a peak in the money supply and a peak in actual inflation, it takes a few years for that stimulus to actually appear in everyday consumer goods. Now, we also know that household debt to GDP, which is the amount of private debt relative to people's ability to service that debt, is still at record highs. Now, we're down a little bit from 2008, but this is still 80% of household debt relative to GDP. That is absolutely massive. This is 1929 here, where household debt to GDP reached 60%. So we have incredibly deflationary forces here, and so you can expect more stimulus, more easy monetary policy throughout the next decade that's going to be fueling monetary debasement. And Bitcoin is such a perfect asset to hold in that type of environment as we see that monetary debasement occur throughout the next few years. And that's as we continue to see the biggest trend of them all that we've seen throughout the past couple of decades, which is digitalization. Bitcoin is a digital storehold of wealth in a macro environment that's extremely prone to monetary debasement. Can you make a better bullish case than that? I don't think so. But in these videos, we try to take a look at the highest quality data possible on Bitcoin to try and identify the best moments to both buy and sell Bitcoin. Now, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to follow this incredible asset with us. And now, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, the first chart that I want to take a look at is the total supply held by short-term holders. This is on-chain data. This is what we look at in each of our videos. We think this is the most important stuff to look at if you're investing or trading in Bitcoin. This data gives you so much of an edge over other players. It almost feels like we're cheating. Now, why are we looking at this indicator in particular? Because this is short-term holders, right? If you know anything about Bitcoin, you'll know that it has massive volatility moves, huge moves up and down. And so if you're a short-term holder in that type of environment, you're going to get caught up in the greed and buy at the top. You're going to get caught up in the fear and sell at the bottom. And so that's typically dumb money, right? If you're holding Bitcoin short term, you're not taking advantage of the longer term trends. And what's fascinating about this is that every big peak in Bitcoin, whether that's in 2013, 2014, 2018, or right here in 2021, all of them were accompanied with big peaks in this indicator, meaning a lot of short-term holders were owning Bitcoin at these peaks. Now, this is not just a conspiracy theory where, big guys are trying to manipulate the small guy. No, this is actually how the markets work, because dumb monies or short-term holders are fragile holders. These are weak hands that are emotion-driven and not fundamental-driven. And these short-term holders can panic sell their Bitcoin very quickly, almost as quickly as you can hit that like button. If you enjoyed these videos, if you enjoy the research, the analysis, the effort that's been put into making these videos, make sure to let us know by taking a couple of seconds to hit that like button. It is really appreciated. Now, short-term holders can easily panic sell when they have bad news. So for example, just a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was at the beginning of September, you had China announce yet again that it was banning cryptocurrencies. And I had a few of my friends, a few of my family members telling me that cryptocurrencies were going to crash. And instead of that, we actually saw a 40% move up. Now, why is that? Because there are no short-term holders. Back here at the beginning of 2021, you had a lot of short-term holders, and so when China came out banning cryptocurrencies, all of these people started to panic sell, bringing the price of Bitcoin down. But now it's a lot stronger and a lot less likely to see significant downside like this. And you can see all big bottoms in Bitcoin correspond to big bottoms in the supply held by short-term holders, right? This is a big bottom in Bitcoin in COVID, big bottom in this indicator. Right before the big move up in 2020, you had this indicator at the bottom here. And so that's what's keeping us extremely bullish on Bitcoin. Despite the 40% run up we've had, the on-chain data is extremely bullish right now. And what's even more fascinating is that this hasn't turned up yet. So we haven't seen a retail frenzy. We haven't seen the FOMO that you typically see on Bitcoin yet. That's only going to start coming when we're at all-time highs. And believe me, that is what can drive massive moves on Bitcoin. Look at this. As retail money gets into cryptocurrencies, it pushes the price into a parabolic move. We saw that in 2020 as well. Retail money gets into the market and pushes Bitcoin into a parabolic move. And that's one of our focus points at gameoftrades.net. We try to keep you with a contrarian outlook on Bitcoin, but also be aware of the power that the herd provides to price movements. Because at the end of the day, retail investors do still drive the price of Bitcoin higher during a bull run. So we really try to keep you on the same side as smart money and as long-term holders. Now, we are very excited to announce that our website update has been launched. We have been working on this update extremely hard to give you guys all the features that you've been asking for. We now have a trading corner where you're going to have access to all the current trades that we're currently looking at, whether that's stocks, sectors, assets, anything we find to be favorable right now, and all the past ideas that we've had. And so we've completely reorganized the way these trade ideas are set up so that you have all the updates neatly put together for that one sector or that one asset. We have quite a few trades that we're currently looking at on our watch list right now. So if you want to check this out, if you want to take a look at all our new features on the website, make sure to grab yourself a free trial by clicking on the link down below. We've already had tons of positive feedback on the website, so I'm sure that you won't regret it. Now let's get back to Bitcoin, and I want to take a look at this indicator here. This is quite fascinating stuff. This is the spent output H bands. And so here, instead of looking at the dumb money, we're going to take a look at the smart money and what they're doing with their Bitcoin. Now you can see here I've selected quite a few time frames, and so these are Bitcoin that have been held for 2 to 5 years. And the reason we're looking at that is because if you've been holding Bitcoin for 2 to 5 years, you know what you're doing. You've been able to profit from Bitcoin, and you're currently selling at a massive profit. So as opposed to that first chart that we looked at, that was the dumb money, now we're looking at what the smart money is doing and how much profit they're taking off the table. And if you're not yet convinced by that logic, look at how well this works. You see this indicator rise significantly into Bitcoin tops. This was a Bitcoin top. You see profit taking rise to that top. Then again, leading up to this top in 2017, you see profit taking rise significantly here. And each top corresponds to a rise in profit taking. In fact, more recently in 2021, look at this rise in profit taking that led to this big top in January. And again, right before the summer meltdown here, you had a rise in profit taking on this peak. And so right now we're seeing a little bit of profit taking, which is normal after a 40% move up, but this is by no means any type of concerning development on the on-chain data. Back here, you had a major spike, and we covered this saying that this was a worrying development for Bitcoin. Right now, not so much. You can see we had similar type of profit taking right here during the 2021 rally. You had this indicator rise steadily. So I think it's very possible we see that type of development. Now let's take a quick look at the technical picture on Bitcoin. As I said at the beginning of the video, we're back above this neckline here. We posted this on Twitter last week here, that this was the level we were paying attention to, and that successfully breaking above it would be incredibly bullish. And so that's exactly what happened. And if we take a look at our longer term chart of Bitcoin with these mega channels here acting as support and resistance throughout the entire bull market, timing every top, every bottom on this bull market, you can see what the recent move up corresponds to. It corresponds to a breakout above this resistance that we reversed off back here on the 7th of September. We rejected off this resistance. Now we've broken above it. This is bullish. Now the next target, as we've been saying for quite some time now, is at around $75,000 for Bitcoin. If we manage to hold this level, right now it seems like that's going to be the case. Everything seems to be solid right now on Bitcoin. And if price is able to hold that level, we can expect one more leg up to 75K before the next significant correction, and ultimately we'll be heading into the cycle peak later this year. Now I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. Now in the meantime, I wish you good luck on your trading and see you next time.